News on the March. Issue 29, date 9th of May, 1937. The Hindenburg, a soaring beauty. Footage from Slater Publishing & Co. airplanes showing the most efficient transportation method in the world, or rather, above the world. The Hindenburg can gently float above New York City at speed of over 130 kilometers an hour, contrasting to 50 kilometers an hour or so for even the fastest maritime vessels around. Even the least copacetic fellow north of Munich would agree that the Hindenburg is the best method of transportation available. One journalist from the Slater Publishing news team was even able to stand a pen on its tip while the Hindenburg was in flight, and it even managed to stand upright without...
Oh, dadgummit.
The Hindenburg poses a interesting question. Was it doomed from the start? I think that it totally was. The Zeppelin Company reigned supreme over all of the air transportation until the Hindenburg incident, but was that the main catalyst? I think that it was the straw that broke the camel's back as opposed to the primary enforcer of the downfall of the Zeppelin Company. So I say absolutely it was doomed from the start, and I can explain. Hindenburgs were destroyed because of the bankruptcy of the Zeppelin Company. They were scrapped and sent off to random factories to spread the ruins. The Zeppelin Company went bankrupt 29 days after the Hindenburg incident. But what was the Hindenburg incident? But to explain the Hindenburg incident, I'll have to show you the interior layout of the Hindenburg itself. Now here's the LZH Hindenburg. It's a mass of hydrogen. Inside is a red velvety texture. You have hydrogen bags, of which there are 21, a crew and bridge module, passenger module, OP, observational post module, ventilation systems, a ladder to access the observational post module, oil and gas tanks, to power the turbines, hydraulics in order to power the fins, cargo for storage, water tank, which will be useful later, as well as the cargo, the piston engine, which powers all the turbines, exhaust pipes for the same piston engine, a rigid truss structure to keep the coverings in the Hindenburg together, a waste tank for human waste, and a disposal for this tank, and buoyancy compensators. Now, I'm only going to need the hydrogen, crew and bridge, passenger, OP, ventilation, ladder, oil and gas, hydraulics, and cargo modules to explain this. Now, pay attention to the cargo modules. These 3 blocks. In one of them, a fire started somehow. Nobody knows why. Probably a spark from random cargo. And it quickly spread to the other cargo modules and started spreading to the bottom of the Hindenburg. It went right through the hydraulics, started detonating hydrogen tanks, and it got into the ventilation system. It exploded. 65 of 97 passengers survived. 32 died. 1 man on the ground died. The Hindenburg beds were awful. They were terrible. I mean, you were paying close to $7,000 in their money, $120,000 in our money, to get this kind of bed. It's awful. It's a bunk bed supported on 2 basically corrugated or wrought iron poles separated by 1 beam. You'd basically be sleeping on 2 poles in a frame. There's a small mattress, but it was super thin. It had to be super light. You could be given 1 pillow and a very small, foldable, super safe blanket. You had 1 small fold-out chair with a wood sheet so thick it was often broken, and a small wooden aluminum frame table. The walls had to be made out of a substance so thin and so soft, it was essentially low-ply canvas stitch, that you could hear your neighbors over and out throughout the entire of your hallway in the Hindenburg, giving this the title of the #1 worst bed in the worst bed award of all time. Now here is a map of the lower decks of the Hindenburg. This is the Hindenburg itself. Pay attention to the observational post module up here, as well as the main deck modules. Let's remove this label and let's zoom in. So this is the passenger and crew module, but we don't see the full thing. If we remove, or if we enhance first, that's much liker. If we remove the Hindenburg and enhance a little bit more, we can see that there are a couple of things we haven't seen yet before. If we remove everything else, the interior, what will we find? These rooms with this stuff in it. Let's get a better view. So if we look at it from the top, we have Deck A, which includes a social lounge, a bar to get drunk, a corridor to access your first suite rooms, a small kitchen, a staircase, a piano lounge, a gallery, a bathroom, crew and utility rooms, a writing room, a dining hall, and a cigar room to smoke cigars, presumably. I prefer, if I were a 1930s Hindenburg man, I would be a 40-year-old businessman smoking a stogie. That's just a personal preference. On Deck B, you have all rooms, which there were approximately 40 of. And on Deck C, you had the crew. Crew cabins, captain's quarters, and flight deck. When the Hindenburg exploded, newspapers went crazy over it. Here is some footage of the Hindenburg. When it exploded, this footage shows one of the errors. If you look at the turbine, you can't really see it. This turbine is off. In the observational, plus the P&C modules, passenger and crew, we're fine. You can identify them here. You can identify the turbine that was likely off. At this point, the fire had already started, most likely. When the Hindenburg exploded, every news reported on it. You had some that told the truth, kind of, from what they knew, 32 deaths. There were actually 33. Some said there were 100 deaths to sell copies. Hilariously, it says that there were 61 crew members, but 100 deaths. What? That's not possible. Hindenburg death toll placed at 32, when it was 33. 32 dead, 33 dead. Some of them are right. But the Hindenburg was reported on by basically every newspaper around the world. Imagine yourself being one of these sort of couples that are new age, owning a business, pretty rich, and you want to take a luxury vacation to Germany. What do? You get aboard the Hindenburg. So, let's go buy our tickets, honey, right? You tell your wife, and you get to the shop where you purchase tickets for airships, and you walk by, on your way there, you walk by the newsprint shop, and this is what you see. You've probably, in this time, because you're a 1930s person, you've probably heard about the horrible negative par accommodations of the Hindenburg. They're probably just rumors or smear campaigns, you know that all the time, but when it actually explodes, it's horrible. Here's some footage of the Hindenburg. It explodes and it burns to the ground. The conditions on the Hindenburg, they were horrible, yes, but it's horrifying to see what happened. Here are some injuries. This child burned. This woman burned. This woman died. All these led to the downfall of the Zeppelin company.